Welcome to our training on applying for a product ID or GTIN exemption. A product ID, also known as a Global Trade Item Number or GTIN, is a unique set of numbers used to identify products. These are often referred to as barcodes. The most common product ID is the Universal Product Code or UPC. Each product you sell must have its own unique product ID. When you add a product not already in the Amazon store, you'll be asked for the product ID. If your product doesn't have a product ID, you may be able to apply for a product ID exemption, also known as a GTIN exemption. Let's cover some examples of when you may need to apply for a GTIN exemption. Private label or handmade products may not include product IDs. If you make products yourself or buy them from a brand, manufacturer or publisher who doesn't provide a product ID, you may need to apply for an exemption. Parts or bundled packs of more than one product may not have product IDs and can be eligible for an exemption. Products from certain brands are required to have a product ID to be listed in the Amazon store. Additionally, some brands aren't eligible for exemptions. Visit the How to List Products that do not have a product ID help page for a full list of ineligible brands. Amazon verifies product IDs using the GS1 database. Product IDs that don't match information provided by GS1 will be considered invalid. GS1 is a global organisation dedicated to maintaining international business standards. One of their functions is maintaining a database for UPCs. Many brands, manufacturers and Amazon sellers purchase product IDs from GS1. We recommend obtaining your product IDs directly from GS1 to ensure the appropriate information is reflected in the database. Visit gs1.org to learn more. Now let's cover how to apply for a product ID exemption. Before getting started, you'll want to have a few things ready. Be sure you have the product name, plus images showing all sides of the product and its packaging. Images should show that the brand name on the product or packaging is an exact match to the name entered during the application process. Your images should be actual photographs of your product, not illustrations. They should also show that branding is permanently affixed on the packaging, product, or both. Images should also demonstrate that the product doesn't have a GS1 approved barcode available. To apply for a product ID exemption, first go to Catalog in the Seller Central main menu and then click Add Products. Next, under the search bar, locate the What's a GTIN heading. Then click the Learn More link below. You'll then be taken to the How to List Products that do not have a product ID help page. Scroll down to the section titled How to Request a GTIN Exemption and then click on Apply for a GTIN exemption to continue. Next, you'll see the Apply for GTIN exemption page. Here you can begin your application. Click Select and a product category menu will appear. From the menu, choose the applicable product category. If you have different products in multiple categories that you'd like exemptions for, you can use the Add More Categories option and request the exemption for all of your categories with one form. Next, enter the brand of your product or products in the Brand Publisher field. If your product isn't branded, enter Generic into this field. Use the Add More Brands Publishers button to request exemptions for multiple brands in multiple categories. After entering all information, click Check for Eligibility. If your product isn't eligible for an exemption, start the listing process again when you have a product ID. If your product is exempt from a product ID, a list of exempt product categories and brands will appear. If you have confirmation that your brand is eligible for an exemption, click Continue to submit proof. Proof must be submitted as product images in PDF, JPEG or TIFF format. If your product isn't eligible for an exemption, you won't be able to click the Continue to Submit Proof button. Now let's discuss how to check the status of your product ID exemption. First, go to Catalog in the Seller Central main menu and then click Add Products. Next, click Check Your Status here under GTIN Exemption Status. You'll then be taken to the Your Cases and Request log page. After you've been approved, you'll be able to add the products to the Amazon catalogue while leaving the product ID box blank. Now that we've covered the process, let's go over some frequently asked questions about GTIN exemptions. How long does it take for an exemption request to be processed? You should receive an email within 48 hours regarding your approval status. Can I get an exemption for a product already listed in the Amazon store? If your product matches an existing listing, you can add your offer to the existing product detail page without a GTIN. Will my GTIN exemption expire? No, exemptions don't expire after being granted. I encountered a 5461 error when applying for an exemption. What should I do? First, review the ASIN creation policy and ensure that your product isn't already listed on the catalogue. If you confirm that the ASIN isn't already listed, contact seller support. What should I do if I receive a 5665 error? This error relates to branded products. If you're listing your own branded products, you'll first need to enroll your brand in Amazon Brand Registry before applying for an exemption. If your brand isn't eligible for Amazon Brand Registry, contact seller support and mention your 5665 error. Who approves GTIN exemptions? Eligible exemptions are reviewed and approved by seller support associates. Some exemptions are auto-approved, including exemptions for generic brands, brand-registered entities, and the jewellery category. Are GTIN exemptions granted at the brand level? Exemptions are provided for a brand and category. You can receive an exemption for a brand in a specific category. An exemption for that same brand in a different category should require another exemption request. Can exemptions be granted at the SKU level? To receive a SKU level exemption, contact seller support. This concludes our training on applying for a product ID or GTIN exemption. Thank you, and happy selling in the Amazon store.